Hi, I'm Granny, and we're going down the rabbit hole of plate tectonics, episode 2. Last time we learned about a globe of the Earth created in the 1500s with unexplored areas noted as here be dragons. I can't imagine how brave these explorers were to go out into the unknown, but we'll leave that for another Granny Goes Down the Rabbit Hole. Standing in my imaginary chamber that I referred to last time is plate tectonics is so massive that we can only take one branch at a time and they all connect. So the branch that we will be exploring today is how we came to understand through the maps that we discussed last time what is now referred to as modern day plate tectonics. It was during the 1400s when map making was becoming essential and discovering great wealth for nations. So accuracy was very critical. Nations were competing with each other for these riches by funding huge expeditions. It was also at this time when it was first considered that the continents were like a large puzzle piece, or a large puzzle that the continents were part of. Alfred Wegener was born in Berlin, Germany in 1880. He was a meteorologist, geologist, climatologist, geophysicist, polar explorer, and he had a doctorate in astronomy. He and his brother, who was also a scientist, pioneered the use of weather balloons to track air masses. Just like we discovered in the ocean and how the oceans have currents, so does air. Have you ever heard of the jet stream? That's for another rabbit hole. Wegener also noticed the Earth's masses were more like giant puzzle pieces. He estimated about 4 million years ago there was only one large continent, which he named Pangaea, which is Greek for all Earth. It was through what he referred to as continental drift that changed Pangaea into 7 continents that we have now. Wegener's ideas were now referred to as the plate tectonics theory. This theory states that the Earth's outer mechanical layer, or lithosphere, is divided into 7 large continental-sized plates that are constantly moving. To counter all the skeptics at the time, Wegener knew he needed to find evidence of his theory, so he traveled the world, spending his life to find evidence to confirm his theory of continental drift. Wegener refers to his findings as the 4 points of evidence. The first point of evidence is the shape of the continents and how he could make all of the continents, the 7 that we now have, kind of merge into and fit into one continent referred to as Pangaea. Point 2 evidence is fossil correlation. He discovered fossils at the tip of South America and at the tip of South Africa of the Mesosaurus, a freshwater reptile found nowhere else on Earth. He did this with countless fossils around the world, which matched up with his Pangaea model, meaning he would find things and correlate it with how Pangaea looked, and he found those correlations where even though they're all separated now, and we'll go into greater depth. So his point number 3 was rock and mountain correlation. He found mountains in the eastern United States that matched the type and age of rocks in the United Kingdom and in Scandinavia on his map of Pangaea. Number 4 point of evidence is past climate data. This is really interesting. Wegener found glacial striations in areas currently in the tropical area. All right, so glacial striations are where glaciers gouged into the bedrock as they moved. These striations are currently found in the equatorial zone areas of like Costa Rica, the Amazon, the jungles of Central Africa, but they're also found in the Uinta Mountains of Utah or the Finger Lakes of New York. He estimated that about 2 million years ago, the Finger Lakes of New York were created by glaciers that carved U-shaped valleys in the land. Scientists explain the glaciers came from the Laurentide ice sheet, which moves south from the Hudson Bay. The glaciers filled the valleys with hundreds of feet of ice. Now, how many of you have bought a bag of ice, recognizing how heavy they are, just one bag? Well, times that by millions, because the weight of these glaciers, which were hundreds of feet deep, that weight is what allowed them to gouge out valleys and create those striations. Around 10,000 years ago, these glaciers started melting, leaving behind gravel deposits that blocked streams, causing depressions to become what we know now as the Finger Lakes of New York. Wegener also found bituminous coal deposits in northern China, North America, and the Antarctic. Bituminous coal was created by compacted, cemented, and that's the term used, tropical plants. Fossils from tropical oceans and plants have been found on mountaintops or in deserts all over the world. Remember when we, a couple episodes, went to discussed the Poulnabron, a community cemetery dated around 5,800 years ago. And an aside, I find it really interesting that this is where they found the oldest known baby with Down syndrome, which had been loved. The Poulnabron is on a hilltop in Ireland that was once at the bottom of an ancient tropical seabed. Wegener headed 4 expeditions to Greenland that aided in his research. He published his book in 1915 titled The Origins of Continental and Oceans Theory, where he shares his 4 points of evidence that we discussed earlier. It was during Wegener's last expedition to Greenland when he died on an ice sheet from a heart attack. Unfortunately, Wegener could never figure out or discover the massive force that he recognized that was responsible for the continental drift. Skeptical scientists of Wegener's theory started tracking earthquakes around the world and discovered there were patterns which brought about the modern-day plate tectonics theories. The theory is that the Earth's outer mechanical layer, or lithosphere, is divided into large continental-shaped plates that are constantly moving, and most of these plates move 1 to 2 inches a year. Hold on for the San Andreas. Scientists discovered that volcanoes and earthquakes outline these different plates that Wegener had proposed in his theory. In the 1960s, scientists were able to confirm his theory, and he was given the recognition he so clearly deserved. According to most current tectonic theory, is that there are 3 types of tectonic boundaries. Join me as Granny goes down the rabbit hole of plate tectonics. Number 3, please like and subscribe. Thank you.